Hi, I'm Logan Hickey.
And I'm Robertson Wickens, also known as the angel on your shoulder. You decide. Also known as Aunt Bessie, who sometimes get a little bit stressy.
And this is Quick Call an Adult, the podcast where we take questions from our friends, family, loved ones, and listeners and answer them in sometimes strange and bizarre ways. Uh, Welcome to what I believe will probably be one of our last normal podcasts before we get full on Christmas spirit. Second last. This also happens to be unlucky or lucky number 13. You decide.
Ooh. Yeah.
Depending on your superstitious beliefs and how this episode goes.
50-50, we'll see.
Yeah. I just realized we never talked about who's going first or not.
Oh,
But I don't remember which one was last week because last
fuck it,
week
we'll
feels
do
like
it
a fever
live.
dream. Um,
Yeah, I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast, and I ate it like 20 minutes ago. But you know what? Freaking gosh dang it, I'll go. Here we go. Are you ready for this one?
Sure.
All right. So, Logan,
That's me.
if that is you, if you were going to start a trend in today's society, what would it be?
I don't know if you'd count it as trend, but uh, just like this is just like good vibey, and it's just like a trend of like giving people the space to deal with their shit.
Mm.
like like a lot of people get overwhelming emotions during certain things, and sometimes you go through a bad period and like you feel like crap. So like give people the space to just feel what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Cuz like all feelings are valid. They're not always logical. But we still need to feel them.
Yeah. So sometimes illogical things are good. Like
Yeah.
quick call an adult.
I don't know about good, but we're certainly something.
Or certainly something. But yeah,
Uh,
no, I think that's a great answer.
on the podcast note, actually, I was just looking today at our numbers and got excited because whomever of you is listening in Kingdom of Spain, you've come back
Ooh.
again 2 more times because we were at sitting at 7, and now there's 2 more downloads in Spain. So we thank you. Please
Yeah.
tell all of your Spanish friends who understand and speak English because
Yeah.
we would love to have more people listening.
Yeah. And as they say in Spanish, thank you. I'm from Alberta. I'm not allowed to have culture. But anyway,
And we just lost all of our prairie listeners. What
shit.
trend would you start, Robertson?
Um, honestly, like I would start the trend of flowy clothes. Like I found the joys of harem pants and like long, flowy shirts, and I love it. I am always comfortable, and like even to the point where my students said they're like, "You always look like you're so comfortable."
Mm-hmm.
Cause I am, and it like I feel like we all need to. I was saying to you earlier today that I think I am so excited and hopeful that when the world comes back to being, once we go back to like going out to like boardrooms and meetings and stuff like that, going to work, I'm excited to see how many people continue the trend of having business meetings in onesies.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm all for comfort. I will always prioritize comfort. It's just the person I am. I like my comfy clothes. I like
Yeah,
feel like I I will dress appropriately for any like job interviews or special auditions or whatever. But like I am so down to just be comfy
oh
because
yeah,
like as long as you're happy and comfortable in what you're wearing, and like for me that is track pants and sweater. Like I like that. It's my comfy clothes. Some people it's dressing up in a full suit and that's their comfy. Like
yeah.
dress for your comfy. Personally, I'm down for us to all take a note from Frankie on Grace and Frankie because her style is
Yeah.
amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. And I like, well, for me as well, I'm always moving, like, and 90% of the time that I'm moving, it's probably going to be excessive because it's just movement is my medium or whatever, however you want to call it. I love all movement styles. So like I got, actually, I haven't told you this yet. I got hardcore called out by one of my students. She was like, do you just dance while you talk? And I was like, yeah, you've seen me do it. And she's like, okay, but is that how you choreograph the dances for us? And I thought for a couple of seconds, I was like, actually, yeah, there are definitely times I'll be at the supermarket and I'll just be talking and moving, and I'll think, huh, this would be fun to do in a dance. And then I
Oh yeah,
teach it to them.
you totally dance mid conversations all the time.
Yeah, it's how I choreograph sometimes.
I love it and appreciate it. And it always amazes me because even when you're just like absently dancing, like absent-mindedly dancing, you're just kind of moving the way you want to move because you're grooving at that time. Uh, it's always with some form of like artistry. And I'm like, I don't understand how your body moves like that with like no prep. Like clearly you love to move. Your body is meant to move.
Yeah, nah, it's the best. I love it. So I always have to be dressed so that I'm able to do that. So the harem pants and long flowy shirts always work for that.
Well, speaking of the way you like to live your life,
Oh,
that segues actually into my question of
hey.
would you rather live for 120 years and be well off but have a boring life, or live half as long and have an exciting adventure-filled life?
Nah, half as long.
I agree. Like easy, very easy for me. Because like if you're boring, like not if you're boring, if you're living a boring life and you have lots of money, like you're not putting that money to any good use. You're not like you're just living to exist. And I would rather live with a purpose than just exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And like as much as there are days and times where I'm like, God, I wish life would just were just boring. It's still like it's just you gotta go out and live your life, you know? And I heard this amazing thing once, where it was like at the end of your life. Okay, this is getting into like this is a super cheesy quote, but I love it. It was at the end of your life, you can ask death to dance your final breath, and if you've lived a very full life that you can be proud of and like that demands respect. If you demand respect in life, you demand it in death, and death has no choice but to watch you dance. And if you lived a life truly worth living, then your dance will be the most beautiful dance of your life. And I love that so much.
That's so cute. I really like that phrase.
Well, of course, I've butchered it more than I possibly could have, probably, but it just like that idea is so incredible for me, and I'm trying to keep living a full life. I've lived quite a full life, and I want to continue to do so. Just for the idea that like I want my most beautiful dance to be the last one, and at the end of it all, to people be like, "No, that guy freaking lived. He was excessive and a lot to handle all the time, but he got stuff done."
I like that though. That's a great sentiment.
Yeah,
And it works because you're a dancer. So like there's also
yeah, right. Well,
that.
yeah, and it tickles that little part of me where I'm like, it's a cheesy quote, and it also has to do with dancing.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Which actually, speaking of stuff to do with that, look at this. Look at us go. Um, I got a question about bucket lists.
Ooh.
So, do you have a bucket list? And if so, what is the craziest thing you've got on it?
Oh God. I've never had a bucket list really. Like the only single thing um that would be on my bucket list. Like I've got some things that I'd like to do, but it aren't like a I want to do before I die thing. Like, but would be nice to do. Like, I would love to go to Scotland.
Mm,
I'd love to visit Loch Ness and spend some time on the banks of the Loch Ness, because
yeah.
I love cryptids and the idea of Nessie existing
Hmm.
potentially. Um, you know, like I'd like to visit Europe. It's not a necessity, but I'd like to visit Europe, and I'd like to see more of Canada outside of Ontario because I've seen pictures and heard experiences of people who've traveled Canada, and it's absolutely like they
It's
loved it.
amazing.
It's a huge country, and we have a lot of beautiful things. But
Yeah, it's amazing.
I would say the only real thing on my bucket list that if it happened, I would be okay to die the next day would be to voice an animated villain in a musical, but not just like a
Oh.
straight to TV. musical. I'm talking like a Frozen level of like Frozen, Moana, that kind of thing. That like high quality. It doesn't have to be Disney, but I just that high quality movie musical that is a animated musical, and I would love to voice a Disney villain and get a pretty kick-ass villain song. I wouldn't want to be like in Frozen where Hans doesn't ever actually get to sing, or like
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in uh, Moana where the like sub villain, not even the big villain. Now, not to spoil the twist in case anybody happens to not have watched Moana, but the like sub villain gets a song and not the real villain for a good reason. I get why, because the twist in it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. But
Yeah.
like, I would want like a big budget blockbuster animated Disney villain or Pixar villain or whatever. But I just want to voice it.
Yeah. No, good answer. Good answer. I like it. Yeah, I'm looking at mine right now, trying to see what because I was in one of my exes was very passionate about having a bucket list and stuff, and it inspired me to start my own, just the way that she would talk about it, and I did, and here it is. Looking at it, I've got like the basic stuff of like, yeah, that makes sense for Robertson, and like cute stuff. We always gotta have cute stuff on the bucket list, but the craziest thing is probably the last thing on the bucket list. And it's going to make sense why this is the last thing when I say it. I really want to hug a bear. It like I genuinely sometimes it keeps me up at night. I just really want to hug a bear.
You could probably get away with like volunteering at a nature preserve and hug like a baby bear.
No, I want to hug a full bear,
Oh God. I mean, there are
which is
bears.
why it's the last thing.
There are bears out there that are like domesticated that I'm sure you could coordinate that without, dying.
Yeah. Oh, it just like oh, they just look. And I know that bear fur is like more wiry and not as fluffy and fuzzy as it looks, but it's just like they're so floofy and they're so big, and they're just like, can you like? There was one video I watched recently where a guy who owns bears, the bear was having a bad day and he just sat beside it and was like snuggling it. And then there's another video of him. He gives the bear a hug, goes to walk away, and the bear grabs him and pulls him in and just gives him a big squeeze. And I'm like, I just want a bear. I just want to be mutually hugged. Like, I want to hug the bear, and the bear hugged me back, and I just wanted so badly.
Well, I mean, I know a few hairy gay men who I could probably get to give you a hug, but it's a different kind of bear and Tyler.
It's not the same. I just want a grizzly bear to hold me. I don't know
That's going to
where
be
this.
the name of this episode. I want a grizzly bear to hold me.
I do.
That's it.
I do.
That's the episode.
Good, but it just like you can hear it in my voice. This is something I'm passionate about. I think it would just be the greatest feeling to just because like imagine it, you're basically getting hugged by like it's like being the little spoon, but you're being hugged by a blanket, but also it's like a dog, so you're being snuggled by a blanket dog big spoon, and it'd be the best.
That's adorable.
Sorry, that took a lot out of me.
That is okay, but like talking about like life and living your life, um, what has been your biggest challenge in life, and how did you overcome it?
Oh,
And to be clear, we're not talking about like triggering things that we're currently potentially working through. Because like I've got some shit that I'm going through at this point in my life that I wouldn't want to talk about. But things like that we have noted and actually worked through and moved past.
yeah. I will say, and I feel like this is a pretty standard one, so apologies for going to the base one that we're all working on, but honestly, probably just like um, defining self and like figuring out who I am to me and like making that be enough. And it really, and yes, I know I talk about my students a lot, but it really, they've been a huge catalyst for it. Cause I remember there was one day where I went to my students and I was getting very emotional because I was saying to them, I was like, you guys tear yourselves down so much and you don't need to because you're doing amazing work and you're Like they're just such open, genuine, like just honest mini people, and yet they just tear themselves down. And then I gave them this huge speech, and then I went home and I sat on my bed kind of just feeling sorry for myself about how awful I thought I was. And then I was like, what, like how can I go to these many people and tell them that and then go home and not follow it myself? So they've been a huge thing for me of like working on that and getting there. And yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I think for me it would be something along the lines of that got repeated a lot at school was "You are enough." I'm constantly, even now, like even though I'm fully aware of it now and aware of how I like interact with myself, um, I would say just like accepting that like I'm enough as a person because like I always try to be more than uh,
Mm,
and try to go like above and beyond or like try to um, like I work my ass off to try to be perfect and do the best. And sometimes like your best isn't always going to be your best. Right? Like your best on some days could be maybe 80% of your overall best that you could possibly do because of where you're at and what you're going through at that time. But that's okay. Like it's accepting that like I'm enough is like been a huge part, and I'm going to be honest, it's still like a struggle. Like this is something I'm actively
mm.
working on. um so I think my biggest challenge is like that inner saboteur,
Oh yeah.
like getting past that inner saboteur. And I actually had a teacher who um a teacher who I had a dance teacher specifically who, when I was really beating myself up about a dance assessment at school. And for those of you who are tuning in who might not have listened to previous episodes, I went to school for musical theater. Actually, I just graduate, or I'm just about to graduate, finished everything just recently.
Woo!
Right, I'm super excited. But we, I beat myself up a lot in like dance assessments, and if I'm not getting it perfect, I I would genuinely break down a bit. And the teacher, as much as I didn't always agree with said teacher, she looked at me and jokingly smacked me upside the head and said, "It's not your job to judge you. That's what I'm here for. It is
Mm.
your job to show up and do your best for that day and trust that you've learned and worked on everything and that you are where you're supposed to be." And I kind of went, huh. Like it
Yeah.
just kind of like popped into my head of like, oh shit, yeah, okay, that's totally fair. Like as long as I trust that I've done my best, um, that should be enough for me. And if I haven't done my best, I have to strive to make sure that I'm doing my best for that day.
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
doing the best by your standards, not everyone else's.
exactly. And so that's kind of, I would say that would be one of the biggest things I've had to overcome. And I'm still
Yeah.
working to overcome it. Like part
Oh
of the
yeah.
question is how did you overcome it? Honestly, just reminding myself that that I'm worth it or that I am enough is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that was part of it. I mean, like, well, for me, similarly, like, I feel like this is a thing that you work on through your whole life. It ain't just gonna go away. Like, depending on what someone on the street says to you, the way someone looks at you in the store, a comment by a cashier, like, it'll always come back. It's never gonna go away. But I think really, um, over the last year, I've really had to work on it. Um, because they were just getting to a point where it was like I was just me, myself, and I, sort of just like lots of shit going on, and I was kind of stuck with myself, and I just had to kind of be like, all right, we gotta. Like the way I worded it when I did a positivity day with my students of it, like you are the only person that every day in your life you go to bed beside and wake up beside in the morning. So just think of it like being in a relationship, and you, like with any relationship you have, you should want that relationship to be the healthiest best thing possible. So why not make it that way for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 110%.
Yeah. I mean, really, a huge thing that's been helping is me um, doing that thing of like constantly, anytime I hear someone else speak poorly about themselves or say something negative, I correct them on it. Be like, hey, there's a better way to word it. There's a more positive way to think about yourself. And that's keeping me accountable too, because when I call people out, if I say anything, they call me out twice as hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I had a teacher who said instant forgiveness to yourself.
Yeah.
Always a good idea. Like,
Yeah.
always a good idea. You just
What
give
the?
yourself a little kiss on the shoulder. Well, you can't really hit your shoulder. Kiss on the arm,
Yeah.
and you just say, like, it's okay. You're human. We're all human.
Yeah. We're all doing our best.
Except Robertson's a gremlin, but that's okay.
Goblin.
Goblin, sorry, not gremlin.
Yeah. Please get it right. Um, well, speaking of life goals and like life tracks, if you could have somebody narrating your life as you went through it, day by day activities, who would you choose?
Anthony Hopkins.
Oh,
Because
that's a
he
good
is
one.
like sufficiently a Looney Tune like I am. And he's just like, I love him. Either him or John Malkovich. Because John Malkovich is just eccentric enough that people would be very interested
That's
in
sick.
what he was saying.
Yeah. No, those are good. Yeah, John, get both of them. Put both of them in a room together. That'd be a lot to handle.
Oh my god, I would love it. I would be like a fly on the wall just absorbing everything because the two of them are just so unique as individuals, and I'd be
Oh, they're
just like so
wonderful.
enthralled with everything they're saying.
That'd be so wonderful.
Oh god, yeah.
Who do I have? Just a toddler and a chimpanzee. No, I'm kidding. I kind of want to say someone like Norm Macdonald, who's just gonna do it in a very dry, sarcastic, like off the cuff kind of way. I feel like Norm Macdonald, or like let me think of someone else, like Zach Hadel, who's Psychic Pebbles, like people who are just so quick and so sarcastic and so just like naturally funny people. I would love that. I would want to listen to them. I would listen to them narrate paint drying. Like I feel like they would be so funny doing that. So I would probably get one of those people, those folks.
Norm Macdonald would be a good choice, I think.
Yeah, I recently have gone down more rabbit holes of just like listening to random compilations of his stand up or like random stories he tells during interviews or the podcast and stuff. And he kills me.
I love that. I love that. That I didn't even think about Norm Macdonald. That's actually a really good one.
Well, he'd just be so like once again, his inflections and stuff, and no matter what he's talking about, you just hang on to it.
Yeah, you just pay attention to what he's saying.
Yeah, and God, he'd go off on like tangents and stories on every little thing he did, and it'd just be so worth it.
Oh, 100%. It's funny, neither of us said Morgan Freeman. Because a lot of people
True,
think
which is
narrator, think like Morgan Freeman, but I think that's why I wouldn't pick Morgan Freeman, because everybody would love Morgan Freeman.
yeah. Or Benedict Cumberbatch does a lot of stuff now.
Oh yeah, have you ever seen the interview? I think it's on Graham Norton where they make fun of Benedict Cumberbatch because he did a thing about penguins.
Oh yeah, the Penglings.
Yeah, but he could never say penguins properly, so it'd be like penguins, penglings,
Yeah.
penguins, and I'm like,
Oh, it was so
this
good.
is so funny.
So good. Ooh, or like I feel like Stephen Fry would be a good one to narrate your life too.
Oh yeah, I like Stephen Fry.
Oh, he'd be so good.
Now, was that your last question? Is this
Yeah.
my last question now?
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, look at that. We're
Look
already
at
getting
that.
to the end. So for this one, what is your proudest moment slash what are you most proud of?
I beat Dark Souls. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, I'm proud of that. But no, honestly, and kind of what I alluded to before of last year. I feel so dramatic every time I say this, so forgive me. play some sad music while you listen to me talk about it. Do like In the Arms of an Angel or something. But I don't know. Last year was a really rough year to me. Like it was definitely it was one of those things where it's like every week a new groundbreaking thing happens to throw you off again. And it took me to the point where I like was starting from ground zero. I felt like I was starting in the exact same places. Actually, probably even a bit farther behind than when I even moved to this province. It was really like, well, I mean, I feel like you can attest because you you had to put up with me through it. It was
It was a
quite
labor
the
of
rug
love.
pulled out. It was a labor of love, yeah. But anyway, uh, reason for bringing that up um, is the progress I made in just a year, because I feel like I went from the worst I've ever been in my life in all areas of my life to being the best I've ever been in my life in all areas of my life. Being like, I'm now living on my own for the first time. I work out every single day, which is a new thing for me. I actually drink water. Like, I'm taking care of my health, both physical,
It's
mental.
so
I'm
funny because so many people just don't drink water.
Oh, it's amazing. And like I try to get as much sunlight a day. I just go for walks. I'm doing things that I like for the sake of that I like them. And it's just like I'm the happiest, healthiest, most put together and adult like I've ever been. And it came from just a year after being like just fuck nothing. Like it was I don't know. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, you should be. I firmly believe that.
Thanks.
No
Yeah. Okay, you
problem.
can turn off Celine Dion now.
I think for me, uh, I'm proud of the fact that I chose to pursue something um, that is something I love, being musical theater, because I don't know if I've talked about it much on the podcast before, but I did a
Well,
degree in theater production at York, and it was probably one of the most miserable things I have ever done. I was genuinely depressed and thought it was just because the um, program is ridiculous. It's the program is a I don't want to get into too many details, but there are practices in that program that would be considered abusive, for
oh.
sure, in all aspects of like not just from not just in the production program, but also in the acting program as well. There,
Hmm.
and I didn't realize how depressed I was. I thought it was just busy. I thought I was just like working my ass off. Um, but instead, uh, I chose to, because of some urging from my family, I started taking vocal lessons again in my last year of the theater program. And I started to experience joy again because I had stopped performing and stopped singing entirely. Um,
Hmm.
which is like that was the thing I did when I was happy, when I was sad. Like I would sing. I would put on a musical and just like shriek at the top of my lungs. Like it was so much fun. Um, and so like I am very happy that and proud of myself that I chose to do that at the urging from my family. And then on top of that, I ended up, uh, which was really nice. After about a year in the vocal program at York doing classical voice, I realized that something was still missing. And it was while watching Bad Out of Hell, the musical, I went, oh my God, that is what I have to do now. And it no longer
Hmm.
was a case of like wanting to do it. It was, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Um, like, I absolutely have to do this. And so that was huge for me. That was like something that I was so proud of for myself. And I'm still proud because then I, like, during intermission, I applied for my, I applied to the program I got into at Randolph College, and I have done nothing but grow as a person since then. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that, because it is scary as hell when you're like, this is what I'm going to do to make my money, and then you realize you are sad and not happy with it, and you have just invested a lot of your time in it.
Mhm.
um, that is terrifying, because you're like, I have just spent so much money doing this, and I don't regret it, because if I hadn't have gone through what I went through, I would not have the skills I have now to be in the jobs that I've had to help me get through school. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I do not regret it. But that is a terrifying decision, to do more school when you've
Hmm.
already spent not an insignificant amount of money on school.
Yeah.
Um, so I am so proud of myself for just sticking through that.
Hmm.
Um, like, for making it through to the end. And I am so much more happy with who I am now.
Yay.
Like, I'm so much happier as a person. Um, so like I that is probably what I am most proud about, honestly, was that I was able to actually show up and stick to it and make it through.
Mhm. Yay. No, that's great. Yeah. I see. I can't imagine how tough that would be, because I'm just like, I was like, just one day, I said, I'm going to apply to random. I think I told this story where I was like, I'm going to apply to one theater school. And if I get in, then I guess that's what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. If not, I do something else. And then, well, I think it's obvious what happened, because here I am. So yeah, like, kudos to you for being able to make that decision of like, no, I got to be doing something else now.
Yeah, it would be never. It was terrifying, and now I'm regretting, not regretting the decision, but regretting the money, because now current Logan is paying a little bit for past Logan's school adventures, because
There.
doing two top tier programs, like uh, like doing two very expensive top tier programs, is a drain on the financial resources, to put it mildly. But I wouldn't change a thing, other than perhaps, finding time to work more during it, so that my debt coming out of it was less. But I really don't regret it.
Yeah, we're good. Hey, there you go.
No, I'm proud. I am proud of self.
Good. Good.
I
That's
don't
a good
always
thing to
like
be.
self, but I am proud of self.
Hey, it's one step at a time, day by day. There you go.
Day by day.
Sorry, I'm not in musical theater. I don't know what to.
Oh, that's a lie.
I
That
mean,
is that is an outright lie. Do you actually not know what that is?
wait, do it again.
Day by day, day by
No,
day.
what is that?
Oh, dear Lord, three things I pray.
Oh,
Godspell.
that's yeah.
I
That's what I was gonna say. See,
don't believe you.
I was testing you. Shh. I was testing you.
Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Quick Call an Adult with Robertson and Logan.
Hello.
Hello. You can always send us questions that you would like answered on this show to quick period call an adult at gmail.com. Please, please, please follow us and subscribe to whichever uh, channel you are watching this on, whether it's Spotify or listening to us on YouTube, which we have our YouTube channel now,
It's super exciting.
or Apple Podcasts. So please, please, please keep in touch. Follow us on everything. Send us your questions. We love you dearly for it.
Yeah, we appreciate your support. And just love the fact that y'all are hopefully enjoying yourself.
Yeah, if we can be a little bit of a bright spot, we are more than happy to be this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Toodles!